And so now we are going to be doing the Q&A answers portion video. Basically, I was overwhelmed by all of the questions I got. As you know, if you've watched that announcement video, it was just going to be an experiment, and I was just going to be seeing what kind of questions, if any, I got. And I got a crap ton. And that was absolutely unexpected. So I kind of figured to throw you guys for a loop. Not only have I, chopped up all of the questions I got, so I'm not going to be, we're not going to be referencing each of them as they came in, as they were posted. It's going to be like one after the other of everybody who asked, sort of thrown in at random. And I'm going to have my bestie and sis answering questions and reciting the questions as well with me. And so strap in. This is going to be a long one. Lots of fun, awesome questions. And I got to say, from right out of the gate, thank you to everyone who posted some mad fun, creative, off-the-wall questions, all the kinds of things I like to do when I'm posting questions for people doing Q&As. And so let's get right into it. And do you want to go first? You want me to go first? All right, you go ahead.
Never Again 41 asks, do you have a favorite PlayStation game, and if so, what is it?
Favorite PlayStation game?
There's
so many. I end up, I think, most frequenting in replayability factor the three main franchises: Final Fantasy, Metal Gear Solid, and Grand Theft Auto. And like, it always depends on my mood. Like, if I'm in the mood for Metal Gear, I can pop in one of those old games. Same thing if I'm in the mood for like an RPG. I usually gravitate back toward either like Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy VIII. But I think replayability-wise, the thing we play most often is Grand Theft Auto, like San Andreas. When we had a working PS4, it was GTA 4. Hands down, after completing that game, beating it.
Yeah.
Hours upon hours upon hours, months of just popping it in and, killing pedestrians, getting people to fight on the streets, doing stunts in the cars and the motorcycles. Even San Andreas, we can't play GTA 4 anymore. So San Andreas is like, it's all to do with the open world sort of aspect of that game. I mean, after having beaten it, and I even think my game save has like a glitch or something with it where you can't send the character CJ in to do like exercises or something.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it perpetually says it's already been done for the day, and he can gain weight like no problem, but just one of those weird quirks of the game save I have. But I mean, it's been years that, since we beat that game, and we always pop it in again and again. And you like going out to the desert to the little bar where you play pool.
Yeah.
And
the little restricted area.
Yeah. And messing with all the army guys and the 4 stars and everything. And you also really always go back to like MGS3, Snake Eater. Yeah. Replaying that, and
I love going around the woods and killing the guards and messing with the guards and catching things. And
once you've beaten the game, and I think you got to do it with each of the PS1, PS2 Metal Gear Solid games. Once you beat them a couple of times each, you can unlock like the stealth, and you can unlock the infinite ammo. Or in Snake Eater, it's that Patriot gun, right?
Yeah.
And once you have those things, I mean, you can pretty much go nuts. And I always love, one thing I always get a kick out of watching her play is like, you'll put on that that camo, that stinky or whatever, and you'll mess with the guards,
the
like
stinky camo uniform, and like you're in stealth,
and they're all like, "Whoa, what is that?" That stuff is mad fun. So I would have to say that's the best way I can really answer that question. As far as favorites, it's ones that we can keep going back to and still have that replayability. So next question, I'll go next with Howard, our good friend Howard. How old were you when you discovered Doctor Who? And I can answer this one of two ways. And I've pretty much answered this question in various different degrees over the course of several videos in the past. But basically, I go back to a vague memory of being a kid back in New Jersey with our mom and dad. And she would watch Tom Baker episode reruns on the PBS station there. And that's the earliest technical memory of like discovering Doctor Who that I personally experienced. But I think the same goes for both of us in that consciously it was 2006-ish when the U.S. Sci-Fi Channel started showing the modern series with Chris Eccleston and Billy Piper. The very first episode that I like consciously tuned into was The End of the World, the second episode of Series 1. And I think you said that was your first episode as well, right? And I mean, it gets really emotional, and there's that whole idea of, you know, being estranged from your family in a sense. Not estranged as in, you know, you're not getting along or whatever, but just over far distances and time and space, as it were, in that episode. And it was one of those things where it's hilarious because she doesn't always get into the geeky stuff that I do right away. I was a lifelong Star Trek fan before she started getting into it. Same went with Doctor Who in a sense.
I was like, oh man, what the heck are you watching?
Yeah,
now?
And she would hear me laughing in response to the episodes and how pumped I was to watch every new episode. And so she finally got into it as well. And we're thorough Whovians now. I mean, but yeah, like 2006 when U.S. Sci-Fi Channel started showing them, at least consciously, that's when we kind of sort of fell into Doctor Who and discovered it and fell in love with it. So, next question.
TJ Pyramid, superpowers, invisibility, flying, or strength, which one do you choose?
Do you want to answer first, or you want me to go first?
Well, it's kind of like the Metal Gear Solid thing. You know, you could be invisible and screw around with people.
Yeah, true.
But I think I'd actually rather have flying, because I'd go places, you know.
You could soar anywhere across the world. Now, see, here's the interesting thing about that. I have this like practical mindset that says to me, as much as I want flying, I'd be up in the air and I'd hit like a random cloud or something, and then I'd kaputz down to the ground and kill myself. No. I feel like I'd have to go for something more practical. The invisibility is practical in the sense that, you know, as long as it doesn't sort of switch off on you, you can get away with practically anything. You could mess around with people, you could do stuff, have fun with it.
Don't forget karma, though.
Well, yeah. But for me, like the practical mindset, I would always sort of gravitate towards strength or something that equates physical health, you know, something that would be prolonging my life maybe, or
that's a good point.
Yeah. So I mean, because I feel like flying is the thing I most gravitate toward personally. I would love to be soaring in the clouds and everything.
That would be awesome.
But it would freak me out, like the idea, what if I fell? What if there was a misstep in the air? What would happen? Yeah. So I always gravitate that sort of pragmatist aspect of my mind kind of gravitates toward the more practical, like physical strength, physical health, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because you'd want to be able to do stuff like, you know, not just fly. You'd want to be able to be strong.
And the invisibility thing, there, I feel like there would be, unless you are the most stringently honorable person, you're gonna really be tempted to use that in ways you shouldn't. Okay, next question from Blade Bison. Which superheroes do you think are the most popular at the moment? List top 5. I don't know if this is talking about comics or movies necessarily. I kind of feel like the best way I can answer this is kind of a generalization, because it's actually been a little while since either one of us has kept up with comics. We don't have the availability to them. Just based on, like, you know, the Marvel Cinematic Movies and DC stuff, I'd say sort of a loose top 5 would probably be Spider-Man, because there's lots of talk about Spider-Man in the MCU with that whole deal with Sony and everything and Marvel. Second, I'd probably say Superman / Batman in the second and third place. They're, you know, you can alternate. I'd say, because there's a lot of buzz about, and this actually touches upon another question that'll be coming down later in the game, Green Lantern, because there's a lot of speculation about a Green Lantern sort of reboot within the DCU as it's, you know, going to be unfolding. That's, what's that, 4? And 5 is actually more comic book related. The Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, I think, is the character. I hear tons and tons of talk about her Especially, again, playing into the speculation of the MCU, maybe bringing her character in. And would you say you agree with all of that? Or
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So give us another one.
Another one from TJ Pyramid. What show of the past do you wish had lasted longer than it did? I already know which mine would be.
Well, go ahead. You go ahead.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, we've been watching a lot of that.
On YouTube. That's a good show. Used to be on Nickelodeon. I don't even know if Nickelodeon's around anymore, but has like a quirky, goofy, but scary kind of like...
It's like an anthology series of like horror stories and thriller stories and stuff. And I was actually surprised in our digging it up on YouTube and stuff and watching it recently. I was surprised to find out that it was on for a while in, I think, the mid-90s, mid to late 90s, or maybe early to mid-90s. It went away for a while, and they actually brought it back. And we ended up watching the 3-part series finale, which was just all kinds of awesome because they flipped it on its side. The entirety of that series was this group of storytellers, goes out in the middle of the woods at night, the Midnight Society, and they tell stories and they try to one-up each other and scare each other every week and everything. And in the final 3-episode, sort of series finale, the story became real, and it was all about the Midnight Society itself, which apparently had gone all the way back to the 1930s.
It was awesome the way, and I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, no spoilers or anything. It was just freaking awesome.
Awesome.
So, my answer to that question would be kind of cliche, I guess, but I would go with one of two things: either the original series of Star Trek. Like that was definitely canceled way too early, but then again, we would have never got all those fantastic movies. Or the go-to, Firefly. I would love to have seen more Firefly. So I will ask the next question from Daniel Contreras. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. What made you start making videos on YouTube? And basically, I was on YouTube for about, I want to say a year and a half probably before I ever made my first video, and it was just really watching people having fun making videos. There wasn't any sort of professionalism to it. It was just people, they found their way to a camera.
Yeah, just having fun, goofing off, or being, you could be serious, you could be funny, you could just...
And I mean, people can make skits, they can do comedy routines.
Yeah.
I was really watching people that, were like my peers that were just talking about stuff that they dug. My good friend Mike Adams is one of the people who inspired me to start making videos. The channel Geekvolution actually singularly inspired my first video, because the very first video I ever put up on my main channel was an entry to a contest they were doing. There was going to be this big Superman celebration kind of thing as a precursor to Man of Steel coming out. And the aesthetic to that was, how would we in the real world react to a Superman just showing up one day? Like if we were part of the crowd of Metropolis and here he was, or anywhere else in the world, here he was debuted to us, how would we react? And what they wanted was people to submit sort of anywhere from a minute to 10 minutes long video, basically playing a character pretending to react to that. And that was my first video after, as I say, just being on for a year, strictly commenting and watching other people.
And you were my inspiration, my brother here, for getting started on YouTube as well. My first video was, as I'm sure anyone can guess, a cricket video.
Yeah, lots of crickets and buggies and pet videos, and we both alternate filming them as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just be playing around with my phone and the camera and everything, and I'll see something that she's not even aware of. That's how we actually got the one video of the snail eating the fish flakes.
Yeah.
Like, I just happened to be watching the cage, and and it was hilarious. I put music to it and everything. It's absolutely adorable and hilarious to watch.
My God, yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, just watching other people and wanting to talk about, and I guess you could say, in sort of a formal sense, we're kind of like geeky outsiders in a sense. We gravitate toward people we meet online through
Definitely.
YouTube and through Facebook, and you know, it bridges that gap of people we just don't have access to offline in our real lives and everything. I mean, this is real life, but I ask the next one from TJ Pyramid Joe, a brother from another mother. If you had 3 hands and 2 of them were busy clapping, what would the other one be doing? I don't know if I want to answer that question. Let's see. If 2 hands were clapping, what would the third one be doing? You stumped us.
Well, maybe giving a certain finger to certain a-hole neighbors and people.
Waving at people with that special finger. I guess that's probably either that, or I'd be like, you know, I'd have my third hand on the remote control for whenever I have a VHS popped in or something like that, volume control and everything. So go ahead and ask the next one.
Next question is from Howard Martin. Your all-time favorite movie?
My all-time favorite movie, I answer this the same way anytime it's asked. I always go with the George Pal Time Machine.
Cool.
Just, I love the vibe of that movie. I love the idea, even though I'm really happy with the time I was born into, there have been many times throughout my life
You're
where...
You're always curious about other eras and times.
But not only that, there are times where I've been frustrated in life, where I felt like...
Me too.
I could almost relate to the time traveler in that film, and even Captain Nemo to a point in 20,000 Leagues.
About like being outsiders and we're geeks
and just not
like,
fitting in with the way the world is, and feeling like maybe there's another time out there that I would be better fitted into. And so I could always relate to that, and I always loved the idea of having a sort of unconventional means of travel. We're talking time travel, where it's something unusual, but it's still a way for this character to find
peace,
his heaven on earth, in a sense. Yeah, peace and happiness. And so that will always be my number one. What's your favorite movie?
Harriet the Spy.
Oh, that's a good movie too. That's awesome. What do you love about it, though? What makes it your favorite?
The character is kind of the way I grew up, like always curious and like getting into trouble, and like, I don't want to spoil it, but she's basically like a wannabe kid detective.
Next question comes from Vitov. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Which fictional universe would you like to experience living just 1 week in? Fictional universe, and I think he said, like, you know, anything from Harry Potter, Doctor Who, comic book stuff, anime stuff.
Definitely not Harry Potter. No offense to anybody that likes Harry Potter, but I never got into it.
I don't know. I'd probably love, like, if it was something that was limited to only a week, like if it wasn't going to be a life decision, I would say something like maybe Star Wars. It'd be interesting to like be able to exist within that environment where you could, you know, hop a ship, you know, go light speed to Endor, to any of these other places. Hopefully the Empire would be somewhere else. You know,
My
you wouldn't
luck
be getting
I'd be on the Enterprise, and that's when we go to war with the Klingons.
That's Star Trek, actually.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
Star Trek.
Oh, so that would be your choice for 1 week to live in?
Trek.
All right, cool.
Actually, I would wish it would be the whole lifetime with all the peace and...
Well, we got a couple of other similar questions to that, so keep your mind open for potential, you know, alternatives that you'll answer with. But go ahead and ask the next one.
Okay, next question is from Daniel Contreras. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. What song could you say is your favorite of all time? I already know. Which mine is.
Go ahead and go first, because for me, I am such a lover of music.
Hell yeah.
It would be even hard for me to come up with like a top 10, let alone a favorite. What is your favorite song?
Well, the one I have on my phone, which I listen to the most, is by Tiesto. It's called Casa Grande, or Grand, I don't know how it's pronounced, but really powerful, really emotional, peps you up, and just... It's not too fast, it's not too slow, it's a trance song, and, you know, my favorite artist of all time, Tiesto, and it's just an empowering song. It's like I could probably listen to that over and over and over again.
I don't know if I could actually pick a favorite song of all time. There are just so many. I mean, I love, you know, all kinds of different musical genres and everything. My all-time favorite band, though, is Sublime. And in the last few days, I've had their song Slow Ride playing in my head. Not to be confused with the Foghat version, which that's an awesome song too, but this is a completely different song. And it just kind of has the Sublime vibe to it, and I found myself humming it in my head for a few days, and I searched out the music video of it on YouTube and everything, just wanting to hear it again. And so, I mean, but I love a bunch of different things, from big band, classical, oldies, alternative rock, heavy metal, all kinds of different stuff.
There's so much to choose from, and it was really hard for me to choose, but yeah, that would be my end-all be-all song. And,
I mean, you know, it would have to depend on my mood, but I'll go with Sublime Slow Ride for now, even though I think, as far as their songs go, Santeria is always going to be my number one favorite of theirs. So the next question we will be asking, or responding to rather, is from Violet Fire. Tina, hello.
Hey.
And thank you for all the awesome questions. What is your favorite book of all time? And at least for me, this goes right hand in hand with Howard's previous question about favorite movies. For me, I always answer with the H.G. Wells written The Time Machine. There are several differences between the film and the book, and like the traveler in the book actually goes much further than you see in the movie, and there's a lot of weird stuff that happens that he ends up witnessing and everything. But it's, you know, just the adventure again, like I say, about being able to travel in a very uncharacteristic to the way the world works frame of reference, you know, going beyond time and being able to see other eras. There's something very tantalizing about that. I'd love to visit the 60s. I'd love to go back and visit the Roaring 20s and, you know, medieval times and all these different things. Of course, you'd have to be careful as all hell. You know, you don't spark someone's, it's a heretic, or, you know, they're going to burn you at the stake or something.
I know, right?
But
we don't get enough of that anyway.
Yeah, in the real world. But yeah, that's Time Machine is my favorite book of all time. Do you have one? If not a specific book, I mean, I don't think Tina would mind, like, you know,
Bernstein Bears?
Yeah, I was going to say a franchise of books.
In fact, one of the ones you guys sent me, I think it's called Our Parents for Real, and it's got all these like quirky little parent things, like you got the artwork and like questions,
like kids having insights to the parents.
Yeah, it's like a comic strip book kind of, but like it's the kids trying to understand the parents. Yeah, awesome. That's pretty cool.
You can go ahead and ask the next one.
Next question is Mike Hattersley. I hope.
Yeah, I
hope I'm pronouncing that right. Would you rather fight a lion or be lost at sea with great white sharks beneath you?
For me, kind of like the superpowers question, the pragmatist prevails. In the ocean against sharks, I would be no good. I would be fish food. So, in a semi-delusional sense, I would rather take my chances on land, where maybe I could jump up a tree facing off against a lion if I had a weapon or something. I think I'd much rather, even though I'd probably still be pulp, I'd be feed for the animal. You know, for me, I would definitely go with the lion over the sharks. That actually plays into one of my sort of deep down, I had a nightmare a long time ago in my youth about being out in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like under just pitch dark, under like stars in the sky and the moon, not a cloud in sight. Yeah. And just the idea of things being under me unseen terrified me.
Because at least when you're on land, you can run and, you know, kick at things. When you're in the water, you're like struggling.
And let's face it, I mean, in that scenario, it's about death. I'd rather see death coming than not know, than have to, you know, have that fear of the unknown. I'd still be scared out of my wits anyway, even on land facing off against a lion, but definitely lion over the sharks for me. So, okay, I got the next one. And Never Again 41. Who is your favorite character in comic book fiction? For me, hands down, don't even need to think about it, Superman. My all-time favorite superhero.
Definitely.
from his power set to his sort of compassion and just self-morals, always doing right no matter what, never backing down, always being selfless, being there for others, not wanting to be the center of attention, all of those characteristics.
Always being his true self, not back,
and looking awesome doing it. He all-time favorite, definitely. So, do you agree with that? Is that your favorite as well? All right, cool.
Definitely.
And you can ask the next one.
Next one is Violet Fire. What is the most disgusting thing that you've ever eaten?
There have been a few things, actually, unfortunately, because for those who don't know, we have to frequent food banks and such like that.
Yeah, the mystery food, the mystery box.
And there have been a few times where too late we found mold after ingesting things. And I think probably, like, there have been many things disgusting that we've almost eaten, but as far as disgusting, like something that made us sick one time, we got a pork roll. And they're usually good, but this one instance, it was apparently bad and we didn't know it. We ingested it. It didn't look like it was bad. Didn't smell bad.
Okay. It tasted okay.
And we got just food poisoning from it.
Really
bad stomach aches. Things in the bathroom that shouldn't have been green were. And for several days.
Buggies.
All right. Buggies, apparently. All right, so the next question from L. What do you think are the top 3 most intelligent anime series or movies? And when I think of, like, intelligent anime, I kind of usually tend to think of things that are kind of outside the box, in a sense. One series, like, things that mess with your mind a little bit. Like, you really kind of have to think about it. I'd say Evangelion would be one. Ergo Proxy is another one that kind of messed with my mind a little bit. I'd say like Terror in Resonance, which was a more recent series from the Cowboy Bebop creator, Shinichiro Watanabe, aka Zankyo no Terror. Those are 3 off the top of my head. I think as far as most intellectual, I'd say Robotics Notes is another one. And just as far as things I've personally watched myself, those are 4, but Fooly Cooly. In a way, that's...
I don't think I've sat through that.
Yeah, that's the one that I have on VHS.
Oh, yeah.
It's only like 6 episodes, and it's off the wall, the kid who... a robot pops out of his head, and then the alien chick with the guitar. Like, to me, that is so absurd, it's almost borderline cerebral, intellectual, that kind of thing. So I think there's kind of a broad interpretation you can have with anything / intellectual or whatever like that. And I mean, just off the top of my head, those would be my answers. So was that my question? Yeah, you go next.
Next question is another one from Daniel Contreras. If you had the ability to live in any comic book series as the main character, which one would it be and why?
Ooh.
That's a toughie.
Because you'd think I'd go with, like, Superman because he's my favorite all-time character. And Batman is my second. I love Spider-Man. I love Flash. But I think as far as if I could inhabit the persona of a superhero, I'd actually go like Green Lantern. Not necessarily Hal Jordan because of some of the stuff that's happened to him. But like I would want to be a GL, basically have a power ring, have, be able to construct anything from my will, from my thought and everything. I think that's what I would probably go with. Like I want to be a Green Lantern. It wouldn't matter which one really. Like again with Hal Jordan, there's been so much stuff he's been through on a negative connotation. I wouldn't want to have to experience that necessarily, but yeah, I'd probably go GL. What about you?
I'd probably be Beast from
X-Men,
because I think he can change into any animal.
Oh no, you're thinking Beast Boy.
Beast Boy, darn it.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. She's not as familiar with the comics as I am, but Teen Titans.
Yeah.
You'd want to be able to become any animal. That's an awesome answer as far as I'm concerned. So yeah.
Anyone gets on your case, just turn into a cat or a big cat or a lion or whatever, you know.
Hell yeah. Or just, I mean, you could turn into literally anything. You could be an ant in one fashion, and then you could be like a blue whale, the biggest creature on Earth that we are aware of anyway.
Anything.
Okay, so the next one from Mike Hattersley. What is up with your view count on the Q&A video? 1 view, 3 likes, and a handful of comments. WTF. You're preaching to the choir, man. I have no freaking clue what is up with YouTube. I have done so many videos ranting about the glitches and the bugs on YouTube. One thing I can point to, as far as sometimes when I see on my videos it'll have like a like or two and there aren't any actual views accrued, is mobile devices with YouTube. Apparently those views in the view counts show up late or later.
That's weird.
Like when I watch somebody's video, after I'm done watching it, if I give it a like or whatever, it'll still say 0 views. I don't know why that is. I don't know what is different. It's probably an algorithm thing between mobile and desktop and computers and everything like that. But I think if I'm correct, some of the people who left comments on the video when you chimed in with your comment, or questions rather, I think are people who were on with mobile devices, and that's why you see like 2-3 likes or whatever it was, and there was just the 1 view. As far as I know, that is part of it, but I mean, there's so much more cluster F going on with YouTube and glitches, and it's just been so many times so frustrating in the course of being on YouTube that I've done video rants time and time again. And one of the latest things was actually people in the UK couldn't even see comments on people's videos, couldn't post them. View counts, this was the real trip. View counts across the board all over the world were going backward. Like, I went to bed one night and I had like 26 views on a video. I got up the next day, there were 6. And
yeah, so basically screwed up stuff just happening.
Yeah, it was insane. I don't know, like YouTube and Google and everything, it was supposed to be a match made in heaven. Vomit on that. I don't know. Well, you can go next with the next question. That's the best way we can answer that one.
TJ Pyramid, you're given the ability to change any event in the history of the world. What event do you choose and why?
Any event in the history of the world.
Now, be mindful that anything you change can change
repercussions, yeah. You know, I'd probably want to go with something that wasn't necessarily earth-shattering, but that could do good. I'd probably want to, like, undo maybe like the Columbine school shooting or something. I was just, you know, perusing videos on YouTube recently, and sort of in the stint of weird anomalies caught on tape and everything like that, and they were talking about a coach or whatever, actually at Columbine, who ran into the line of fire to basically try to save the lives of kids that, you know, would ultimately have been gunned down and everything like that. And it's just, you know, I would, in thinking of not wanting to alter the history of the world necessarily, not to say that wasn't a big event and there weren't repercussions from that event, but, you know, I'd want to do something that would be beneficial to some people and, you know, bring back the people some of those families lost, that kind of thing. That'd probably be what I would do. What about you?
I don't know. I really don't, because it's like, you know, the first thing many people would be like is, oh, stop the World War from happening. Stop this from happening. But what if you stop World War One or Two or Vietnam from, like, happening, and it was worse nowadays, or we didn't have the freedom we had?
Yeah, that's the trouble with every single...
Every decision you make has consequences, good or bad.
Even though it's the ridiculous cliche concept of time travel, like, and you see it portrayed, like I think Simpsons even did it, where Homer Simpson time traveled or something. He steps on a butterfly, and all of a sudden there are flying cars when he comes back to the present. Like, it, you know, everything has a consequence. So I would definitely, I mean, you know, who wouldn't be tempted to, like, take Hitler out before he could kill all of the Jews and all the concentration camp stuff and everything. You know, you'd want to stop Pearl Harbor from happening, the you know, bombing of the Japanese. I mean, there's so many things you'd be tempted to do, but I mean, unless you could sort of, you know, telegraph how things would play out in the aftermath, I feel like it would be too risky to even try it.
It's a very, very small example, but like I said, you know, even doing something good has consequences. Like in this town, if you were to pick up trash and a cop sees it, you get arrested or fined just because you're being a good Samaritan and picking the trash up.
Yeah.
Right?
But, all right, so the next question comes from our good friend Howard. Who is your doctor? And, I usually go back to, again, talking about, you know, my first conscious doctor was Chris Eccleston's ninth. He's kind of the one that I always have a soft spot for more than any other because he was kind of my conscious first. So I would probably say the ninth doctor is my doctor. What about you?
I'd have to
She's
say,
looking at a poster up on the wall, by the way, of all the doctors.
I'll be quiet. No, I don't. I think I'd have to go with Tom Baker.
As far as being your favorite?
The way he dresses, the way he acts. It's like, if you've seen City of Death, the funny remarks he makes about things going on in that, and, you know...
He's goofy, he's funny,
But he can also be serious. Now, they all have elements like that, but for me, it's Tom Baker.
Awesome. Hey, that's a valid choice, definitely. Rock and roll. All right, so I guess you get the next one.
All right. From TJ Pyramid, it says, Code Red Mountain Dew, not a question, just saying.
And I can't wait to get my next bottle of it, or 12-pack, or whatever.